Hello, everyone. So it is Monday night, and we are recapping, oh my gosh, episode 10. There's only two more left. Hi, Kathy.
Hi.
And our guest is Derek. He is the writer of this episode. He'll be joining us shortly. Let me see. I think I just got a message. Hold on. Oh, no, it's just saying we're on. I don't know if he needs something. He did say hello and he was excited to be here. I hope everything's okay techno-wise. So I really don't want to talk about too much until he's here, but I see all kinds of hellos and hello to you too. And maybe we can I'll show the picture, the mystery photo rather. And if you don't enter what it is yet, and give everyone a minute. And then when I say, okay, you can reveal what it is, we'll do that. How's that? Does that sound good?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So I know there's a delay. Don't say anything. So this is what was on Twitter. I know there's a glare. I'm sorry. But that was the photo on Twitter. And when you are ready, you may put your answer in the comments. Okay. All right. On Hope Valley, what time? Here's Derek. Hi, Derek. We're going to add you to the stream. You okay?
Derek.
I'm okay. Good to see you. Thanks for
Hi.
having me.
We're excited to have you on.
Oh, me too. Me too.
Good. This is Kathy. I'm Roxanne.
Hi, Roxanne and Kathy.
Hi,
Good to see you
Derek.
both.
All right. So I always do this like mystery photo. I zero in on something and then I throw it out on social media and they have to guess what it was and then they get a prize. And that's what they're trying to do now while we're getting ourselves organized. All right. So I have to tell you that I'm the one that talks so much. Poor Kathy. She has to like butt her way in.
And I'm good at that. So.
Yes, she's good. We're a good team. We're a good match. But I have to tell you, I feel like I repeat myself, but it's true. I love last night's episode. I thought the one before that Allie did was going to be my favorite. And the one that I loved before that was the one that was written by Peter. I was in love with that one. And now I'm like, no, this is the one I'm in love with. I can't take it. You're killing us.
Keep getting better and better and better.
Oh, well, thank you. Yeah, that's good. We're building. That's a good sign.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. And I mean, not that the others aren't that good, but this is like off the charts exceptional. Like I can't even get up and take a break, when the commercial comes on. I'm afraid I'll miss something.
Oh, thank you.
Loving it. So before we dive in, can you tell us, because it's not like you just showed up one day, you've been around forever. Can you tell us about how you started with When Calls the Heart?
Yeah, I've been around since season 2, the Hamilton season. And I was coming off of another Hallmark show called Cedar Cove.
Yes.
And then I got hired on When Calls the Heart. And ever since, that's been a big part of my life. And, when I first started out on the show, I didn't think that it would necessarily be something that I'd be drawn to, but I just fell in love with it like a lot of people have. And I think it fills a good void on TV right now. Or it filled a good void and still does. I think people need stuff like this. And so it makes us really happy to write it. We're glad people love it.
We love it. I love it. I've been a Hearties since day one. The very first episode, I've been in love with it. So you don't just write, though. I saw that you also have the title of producer in some capacity. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's kind of a writer's thing. You write scripts, but you're also involved in the show in other ways. And so most of the writers in the room have, various titles. I could bore everybody with how that works, but that's how that works. If you just write an episode and you're not really part of the show, other than that, you just hand in the script, it's a different thing. But because we stay on for, 20, 25 weeks sometimes to see, production, and we see dailies, which are the video from every day, and we give feedback on that. We can be very involved. So they give us that other fancy title.
That's good. Go ahead, Kathy.
So do they give the writers do they let you know what the end game is? So as you're writing each episode, what you're writing is in service to that end game,
Right.
kind of moving them.
That's the idea. That's ideal if we know where we're going to end. And usually we do. Sometimes there's things that are out of our control, or because there's a lot of people giving feedback on these scripts. There's the people that produce the show. There's the network, our actors, directors, everyone. A lot of people weigh in, so sometimes things change. But generally, the first couple of weeks that we spend in the writers' room when we start, it's figuring out kind of what's that arc of the season. Where are we going to start, and where do we want to be in episode 10 or 12 or whatever it is, and hopefully we can hold to that, and we try.
Allie mentioned last week that she has what I think we all called the Bible. She called it that, for the characters and their backstories. And if she's not provided with backstory for a character, then she kind of creates one. Is that the same way you operate? Like, wasn't last night was the first time we saw Arthur, I think. So
yes.
Did you have any backstory in mind for him as you were writing it, or?
My boss, John Tinker, came up with that character and kind of had an idea that he'd be the investor, but also be interested in Fiona. And that's kind of an interesting mix. Like, what's he really there for? And we saw yesterday that what he might be there for. It could be both Fiona and the mine reopening. So, we came up with a little bit of a backstory for him, and he'll play out in the following episodes. But when we do come up with a character, usually we'll have to come up with some backstory and run it past the other writers and see what everyone thinks. And so it's not just this, it has to be kind of a molded character that we know where they're coming from and what they're trying to do. Because if we don't do that, then they kind of come across as flat and unrealistic.
And I've got to ask this one, then Roxanne, I'll be quiet.
No, don't be quiet.
When you're writing the script, did you actually write Henry makes a stunning entrance and everyone's jaw drops, or did you just say Henry comes in and Martin said, "Now we need some drama here"?
It was probably a little bit of both. Now that I'm trying to think back, I mean, he made a big entrance, and then Martin usually takes it from there and makes it his own. He's such a great actor that everything he touches is great. But we usually write it that way, and then they do their own little spin on it.
He had the coat on. He had the coat on a couple episodes ago. No one else had a coat on, and he did. And I'm
he loves that coat.
I know
that coat. I think there have been times where we tried to get him out of the coat, and he's like, "I'm not going out there without a coat."
It's the hat.
The hat. The hat. Yeah. And the other thing is he's got a bit of a hitch in his step, and that was from the car accident way back.
Yeah,
and that was another thing that he came back the next season, and he's still got this hitch. I said, "Are you going to be walking like that for the rest of the season?" The series. I'm walking like that for the rest of the series. Okay, sure, that sounds good.
He doesn't need the Bible. He knows his character inside.
Oh
yeah,
anything. He's got it down. Yeah,
I love him. I think I think Nate was on, and this was like more like in the late fall or early fall rather. And he came on. He was telling us all about the different vehicles and the different stories.
Oh, right.
And he said that because we were saying that his Henry's car that he had then was a little bit, like not quite. It was a little bit year-wise ahead, and more like the Roaring 20s gangster kind of thing. And they made a little Tommy gun type thing for him. They made, and he had that out and around wherever he went, which, I mean, he's funny.
I hadn't heard that. I mean, that's the great thing about being on set, all the stuff that happens between takes, and everyone's really close and they have a lot of fun. Yeah.
So Allie said that you and if I remember correctly, the two of you kind of like were, working side by side to get these two stories because they're in the same block and be cohesive, I guess. Is there a scene or something about your episode that's your favorite, or was like fun for you to write?
I mean, I think definitely Rosemary's storyline was just, I think she nailed it. And I knew it would be a meaningful, important scene. All of the scenes where she's kind of making her way through that whole thing.
Yes.
So when she found out, I thought that was such a sweet scene with Faith. And when she talks to Joseph. And I mean, I love when Aaron, when Elizabeth could already tell. I mean, she didn't have to say anything, and Elizabeth already knew. Those were really good, and you know that, and then this idea of the mine reopening, and I always like the widow reactions.
Yes.
As soon as we said, you know, I think I had pitched that in previous seasons, and you know, for various reasons we didn't do it, and this seemed like the right time. And as soon as we got into that story, that's the first thing that comes to mind is like, what are the widows going to say? Because as tough as they are,
Yeah.
this is a big open wound, and so that scene as well, where you know Florence is holding it together, and then finally she just has to lash out.
Fabulous that she was holding it together. I mean, she has clearly moved on with Ned, but still, after all these years, that grief is still so raw. She did a great job with that scene, even being on the telephone when she was, you know, hearing what was going on.
Oh yeah,
that fabulous.
Yeah, your heart breaks for her.
Yeah, Loretta did a good job. She's a good actress.
Oh, she's so great.
Well, they all are. Yeah,
I mean, they all are. I love them.
Yeah.
You have so I had somebody send me a message on Twitter, well, for everybody, and they addressed it to you. And here's what they wrote, Derek. It's nothing real bad, you know. I mean, don't get worried. I won't hurt you. It says, I want to know why Derek had Nathan say, I'm trying to keep an open mind, Faith, but you know Lucas was into some dirty dealings before he arrived. After she said, all after he told Elle, I have your back. Do you remember in the episode before? So now, was that the dialogue you wrote, or was that the dialogue that Kevin thought up? Because sometimes Kevin can throw in his own little wording.
You know, it sort of blurs in my mind because you know, it goes. I write my script, and then you know, our boss John does a pass, and all that. You know, the idea behind that was to create a little bit of sandpaper between Nathan and Lucas. And you know what I like about this season is there's a lot of innuendo, just like hints at how people are feeling, and you kind of have to follow them through. Like, are they buddies, or is Nathan still hurt about certain things that we don't talk about since last season? You know, there's a lot going on there, and I like that we don't really hit it on the nose all the time. It's sort of what is Nathan really thinking here? Is this legitimate, or is he trying to hurt Lucas, or is he really mad at that guy that's in jail and he wants him to stay in jail? Or, you know, it kind of got interesting that way. And of course, he's our Mountie, and he does the right thing in the end, as they always do. But that's sort of where it came from.
Since he lost Elizabeth, he really has gotten in touch with his inner snark. And he just sometimes he just can't keep it in. So
I'm sorry.
He's training to be like Bill, I think.
Oh my gosh, wait.
Curmudgeon.
Yeah.
The lines that Bill gets to have, I mean, or Jack gets to have, are the best. They make I crack up laughing every time his reactions and the things that he says, because he's so grumpy, but he's looking out for everyone, and he's just curt. He has no bedside manner whatsoever. Thank God he's not a doctor. One of the things that I loved, and it was when Nathan walked by, and I don't know if this is part of the writing, the directing, or if it's, Kevin or a combination. So he was doing his job, looking in and making sure everything was okay. And I saw more of him doing Mr. Protector stuff in this episode, which I liked. And he's walking by the soda shop and pharmacy, and it's nighttime, and he sort of like passes over, and he kind of like To me, it almost looked like he lovingly puts his hand on the door kind of thing and sort of pines for all of a hot second. And then he sees Lucas.
Right.
So was that in the script? Is that a combo?
I think, a hint of that was in the script. And then I think the director and the actor kind of took it from there and made it their own, which was great.
Yeah.
It was a nice moment. But, the idea was that he was missing her, thinking about her, whatever, and then steps away and has this conversation with Lucas. But yeah, that's what's great. We have good, really, really solid directors. The actors, I mean, that's the good thing about season 9 too, is that everyone knows the show so well. They know what they're supposed to be doing, that they can take things and make them so much better, which is great.
Almost my favorite line from last night was Faith and Bill. Faith, that blood pressure is excellent considering your
He's like, my what?
Those are perfect lines for Bill. Bill loves that stuff, Jack Wagner just plays stuff like that perfectly. The guy should be in a sitcom, I swear. He just has the greatest timing.
He does. Yeah. And I like everybody is writing something, and I know that John is in the background also. Like Peter DeLuise was in once on our chat saying something funny, and we were asking him how it works, and he said, you have your episode to write, someone else has theirs, and then you do it all and you bring it back, and John Tinker rewrites it all. He was just kidding, but maybe not. But I love how in all these episodes, it's not like Bill has a cough and it's gone, and then 2 episodes later comes back. He still has that cough. We know that it's building up to something. So do you sit together and say, make sure this, and this is in that episode? Is that your job? Or
I mean, yeah, we do that a lot. And really it comes down to the showrunner doing that final pass and making sure it all balances out. Because sometimes people will we can't read each other's minds, and we'll do the same thing back-to-back episodes, and so he'll just kind of do a little bit of it there, build to it, and then bring it back in the next episode, which is a tough job. It's a tough job taking someone else's stuff and really taking a comb and smoothing it out, and but that's why they get that job. They're good at what they do.
Right. You all have your own voice.
Yeah.
I was going to say, when you get a curveball thrown at you, so you've got, you kind of know what the end game is. You've got your story outline going forward, but then it turns out one of the actors decides going to go take another opportunity. And I'm thinking, for example, of Jesse and Clara, that, Jesse, the actor, Aaron, said, you know what, I'm not going to resign, need to go. What happens? Do all the writers get together? Do John, Brian, does everyone just kind of sit down and decide, how can we make this realistic? And this is maybe a sensitive one, and I can understand if you wouldn't be able to answer it, but how do you make the decision that if he goes, then Clara has to go, as opposed to Clara being a widow or something, or they break up? Yeah,
I mean, there's a lot that goes into those decisions. Some of it I shouldn't talk about, but I can say generally that it's a lot easier if that decision is made over the hiatus or over the summer, before we start writing, and then we can all get together and say, okay, what makes sense here? How do we make this feel real? And Jesse and Claire, that's a tough one. Of course she would go with him. They're married, and who knows what the future holds, but that's where it is now. And but sometimes we get the curveball mid-season for various reasons. I mean, again, we've done 9 seasons. We've had people drop out for all sorts of reasons, and we just have to scramble and make it work. And sometimes that means you have days before shooting starts, and you have to just throw something together. It happened a few times this season where something just had to drastically change. A character had to come out, had to go over here, and we just make it work. And that's what's great about having a team. Somebody will figure it out. Somebody will have an idea, and then we'll go with it.
I know. I feel like this is the season for exits and returns. Like Minnie's gone suddenly for 2 weeks to visit her family, I guess, and then we have Fiona going in and out, and even Henry, and there's an explanation for all of it. But Who else?
Allie, she kind of went to visit
Yes, and
relatives.
May's leaving, but May better be coming back. I'm telling
We
you.
hope so.
Don't spoil.
I hope so.
Yes, we do too. We all hope so too. We have like so many. I just want to first, I don't know what device you're on, but there's a like a little chat box and people can, put right in there and you could see yourself too. But I'm going to put some up first. I'm just going to show you some love that they're
I
showing.
had it off. Wow. There's
Yeah.
lots of fun stuff.
Yeah. You are amazing writers that you can build upon each other's episodes. That's what Marianne is saying. And that's true. So you don't really get to see each other all the time, right? You go into the virtual, I know now because of COVID, it's almost like a virtual writers room. And then you have to share. Do you have like a whole big group and then break off? How does that work?
I mean, this season that we're watching right now, we had how many of us? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of us in writers in the room, including John, the boss, and we would just get together and talk things through. Allie would be taking great notes and keeping track of everything for us as she does, and we would work on the season long arc. We'd work on our episodes, and then we would break away and just go and write our own stuff, and it's another benefit of season 9. We know how to write these scripts, so we don't have to in detail write every step. John would just send us away and say, what do you want? What's your episode about? Okay, go with that, and he'd trust us to do that. And that's great. Some story shows, when you start out, it's every step you have to share it with everybody, share it with the network, and it just takes a long time. But we can turn around a script in 4 days if we have to, which is crazy, but we do it.
When you watch episodes, do you ever second guess yourself and say, "Oh, I wish I had written that a little differently"?
When I watch the show, I'm not very good at watching my own stuff, but I watch with my wife, and she is very supportive and makes me feel better about myself. But also our fans, if you go on Twitter for 5 seconds, you feel pretty good about yourself. And there's always things that you wish were done differently in hindsight. But that's the problem with knowing, all the iterations that we've seen on the page. It's hard for us to see it as the fans see it, because we've seen so many versions of it and everything else. So it's been good this year, just a little bit of a break, and then I got back into watching episodes with the fans, and it's good. It feels like I'm one of the fans.
You do have lots of more fans. We do. Somehow we picked up more. It's amazing. And I think when you write anything, when you're a writer, after you're done, I mean, you can win the award, because there are people that have won awards. And then the like the Joy Luck Club book, like movie, everything. And she's like, when I reread it, I wanted to like change every other word. You could be editing and rewriting for forever, like
there's no one way to do anything. There's and that's the thing with art. There's no right answer. And the other thing is we'll disagree amongst the writers, and it's almost a little competitive. Like, you want your suggestion to go, and then if it doesn't, we should have done it that way. But overall, after 8 seasons I've been on now, it's becoming a lot easier for me to just kind of relax and enjoy it for what it is, which is a good show that makes people happy.
Yeah, and 8 more seasons to come.
Hey, let's do it.
Yes. All in for season 10. But we want more than that. This is Gigi. She's telling you that I love the Hamilton season. I did too. That was good. That was different, but good. And Rona's saying, good episode, Derek. And let's see. I'm just randomly picking things. Last night's episode was my favorite, and I've seen that it was the favorite of many. It had all the heart, soul that we love. Bravo, Derek. You are such a gifted writer. Please never I think she's saying never stop. Yeah.
Thank you. That's very kind.
I know. Everyone's loving it. We talked about this. Henry coming back with his entrance was huge. And the end focusing on him thinking was incredible. And that's true. Like how he just sat down and he was upset the wheels were turning. I
Yeah.
don't know. He's got plans, doesn't he?
Oh, I mean, it's a great season for him. It's kind of a redemption story,
Yes.
hopefully. Like, he wants to do the right thing, but he's stuck in this terrible situation. And is he thinking that if the mine has to reopen, I'm the only one that can do it right? It's hard to tell where he's at right now. But I really like how his character's evolved over the
I
years.
like him so much better than depressed Henry.
Oh,
Yes. Yeah.
or
Yeah.
evil Henry when he
Yeah.
was a really bad guy.
He was, but
He's
he
come a
was.
long way.
I know he really has.
Yeah.
He has. It says, I've seen another interview with you, and Deb saying you're gifted at your craft, and I agree with you that this show is so needed. Thank you.
Very true.
Yeah.
Thanks, Deb.
And then I know we have some like questions. I'm just going down. A lot of people are saying how much they love the drama of Henry coming in. And then we talked about the Nathan part. Let's see. When Elizabeth guessed Rosemary was pregnant, it reminded me of when Abigail also could tell by looking at Elizabeth and taking account of her symptoms that she was pregnant too. Yes, it was like a nod back to that. That's true.
It was, yeah. I think it made us all think of that moment, which is great. It's come full circle for her friend.
It is. And I don't know and I don't like putting people on the spot, but some of us are afraid that it's not true. Like that she's not pregnant. Or what can you say? Nothing?
I mean,
Watching?
It's early, and things happen, but I think what Joseph said to her really rings true. There's a reason for things, and I think we all hope for the best, and I think it'll be an exciting final 2 episodes.
You did that very well.
I would love to say more, but
I know. Oh, I get it.
Tease it or something. Anyway, I don't know what they're going to do.
But we have what happens too sometimes is, I don't know if you all get to see, but we'll see they've shown different promos, like a montage of all the stuff. Like, we know that there's going to be a fire. We've known that before the season started because of what they've shown. And the title of the last episode is interesting because it's like Rock a Bye Baby, but it's Rock a Bye and then Baby. So we're like, okay, there's a rock, someone says goodbye, and who's having a baby? You know what I mean? This is what we're all like throwing around and thinking. So we're not trying to put you on the spot. It's just that they like to be detectives. I like to be a detective.
That was a clever title by John.
I know. Who thought of that?
I think John. Yeah.
John. How about yours? Did you think of your title?
I don't know why, but I wanted all of my titles to be songs this year. So I think my 3 are Turn the Page. That's an old Bob Seger song. Never Say Never, which is a Justin Bieber song. I'm not a Justin Bieber fan or anything, but there's some lyrics in there that I've heard that rang true. And I like that saying. I like Never Say Never. And then and next week is Smoke on the Water. So
who did that? Was that Desperate Housewives, that each title of an episode was from a Stephen Sondheim song, I think.
Was that what they did? Yeah. I'm not being very original, but I started it with Turn the Page, and then I thought, well, that's a song too, and I like the saying, but I'll keep it going.
I went down a rabbit hole one Saturday trying to figure out if there was any meaning to the titles of each episode, and I just finally gave up. Was I just really just going overboard here? Or?
Sometimes
there were for yours.
Yeah, sometimes they are. Sometimes they're a bit more generic. One season, I kept probably back in season 5 or 6 or something, I had inadvertently named an episode the same name as an episode I wrote in season 2, and I had totally forgotten that was the title. And then it's created a paperwork nightmare with like the way I get paid and everything, because they thought it was somehow related to that. And oh my God,
we paid you for that already.
I got in big trouble for that. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Now, when Elizabeth guessed Rosemary, okay, I read that one to you. I have a question about this. Will we and without you telling, I know you can't tell too much, but will we hear more about any kind of medical aspect with Rosemary, like in the baby? Are we going to, or you just can't say anymore?
I don't think we get too much into that,
Okay.
but again, it's early, and you know,
Okay.
if we get another season, and who
If,
knows, but yeah.
well, if.
You are. You will.
I can't say anything today. I'm so
No. I understand completely. How much do you think the series be expanded without really stretching everyone to beyond their limits?
You mean more episodes?
Like you mean in Janice, do you mean like how many episodes in a season? Right now we have 12, which is lovely.
yeah. I mean, if it's more episodes, I'm sure we could make that work. I mean, we have a big cast, a really big
Yes.
cast, and that's our biggest challenge, is trying to give everybody something meaningful. And yeah, we we have cast that goes away, and we're able to kind of send them away for a couple episodes because they have something else to do or whatever, and that sort of helps because we can focus
Mhm.
on the others. So if you did 18 or something like that, which some shows do, or more, uh, I would imagine we'd probably end up focusing on fewer casts per episode and really diving into their stories. If we were to do that, I'm sure the cast would love it,
Mhm.
and the crew. More work. People like work. That's a good thing.
We like it. I want more. Like I'm like, wait a minute, it just started. How we only
Yeah,
have 2 episodes left. No, like I'm excited, but no, no, no.
yeah. Well, hopefully
Um,
we can get a holiday movie next time if we get next.
oh, that would be
Well, after
nice.
Hope Valley Days, though, I'm not sure which holiday you pick.
Yeah, we covered it all now.
Yeah. So, do you have a preference as a scriptwriter for standalone episodes versus episode arcs? Which is one easier to write than the other?
I kind of like. It's funny. Networks always say we want it to be standalone. We want it to be standalone because then anybody can sort of come in and out of the. You can
Right,
attract a viewer at episode 7, but they always tend to kind of drift towards a more serialized thing because they all have these emotional stories, these journeys that they're on, and we have to develop that over time. So I like this, and in this type of show, they don't tell us to do that. They say you can just carry it on between the episodes, and I like that. I've written on more, episodic shows, and it's tricky. It's tricky to get the fans into it again because you're kind of
yeah.
starting from scratch. But if you have nice cliffhangers, we call them, like something interesting happening in the previous episode, it brings people back and they look forward to seeing what's next. I like that style myself.
I do too. I like the whole idea of Allie's Bible, and that like you don't forget, because there's some of us like me who pays attention to detail because I'm insane. And I'll be like, what do you
No.
mean? Why is he eating that? He's allergic to that. Did you forget that 5 seasons ago he was allergic, that kind of thing. And
Oh,
it's so good. There's always a tiny little nod to something along the way. And I like that.
yeah.
That's a
It
good
was
thing.
really great when Allie came along because even though I've been around since season 2, and so that's 8 seasons, but I probably have 30 seasons of shows in my head because there's all the episodes that didn't make it, or
Mhm.
had to be rewritten or whatever. And so I catch myself saying, did we do that? Did that actually make the air? And who,
Yeah.
who was that person again? And she took the time to really go through, which somebody desperately needed to do, and she stepped up, and she went through and just wrote it all down. You should see this thing. It's ridiculous. I don't know how she did it, but
I
it
have the
certainly came
theory
in
that
handy.
the fire, when they get to the fire, they're going to find out it was caused by one of those lanterns drifting back into town that Lucas released a few years ago.
That's a good callback. There you go.
Oh gosh, could you imagine? No, poor Lucas would have people like disgruntled with him again.
Chasing
So,
them out of town. Chasing
oh
them out
my
of town.
gosh, no. So, okay,
Carpetbagger.
how did you decide how Lucas, okay, so Lucas has to go to jail, he gets framed, right?
Yeah.
Did you know that he had to be framed and you had to come up with a way? Like, I love the board in the wall and the ledgers being put in there. How did you come up with that?
It was a nice way to tie together a couple stories, so the Walden stuff, and then
Yeah.
the hit and run, and again, it created a little bit of friction with Nathan, so we're not quite sure where they are, because I'm like you, I like their friendship. I like those scenes. They're actually some of my favorite scenes over the years, but it's nice to sort of see them drift in and out of that. So yeah, it was John's idea. It was a clever way of sort of merging those two stories and making the audience think, oh, this is really going to be bad for him, or maybe he's crooked, and it's sort of tied into some of the stuff that Bill was doing. Like, so it worked really well. I know at times it was a lot of story to cover, but it felt really good to kind of get through all of that, and now we're focused back on, okay, Walden's in trouble, he's out of there, Lucas is good, and now we have the big bomb shell that, that the mine is going to reopen. So yeah, it's been interesting. It's very turbulent skies there for a while.
So are we, if you can answer this, are we sort of wrapping up now what's going on with Walden? With Wyman, are we done that storyline moving forward, or?
For now, yeah.
Okay.
I won't say more than that, but yeah, it's okay. He's been caught, and he's going to be in trouble. So we're moving on to bigger things.
And the whole, I like it because again, who ultimately is going to get Lucas out is Nathan, and Nathan actually has to give up something, in order for that to happen, which I think a lot of Nathan fans are probably upset over. Although I'm a Nathan fan, I'm a Lucas fan and a Nathan fan. I love them all, but I know some
people like BFFs ultimately.
I know that Kathy said they're on the way to being BFFs, and I agree with her. And I love watching, the storyline go. But I'm thinking, I felt bad in a way because he's a lawman, and he was correct in saying that we shouldn't have to make this choice. He should be held accountable for what he did. But then again, the compassionate part of him couldn't see Lucas sitting in jail. And I don't really think, this is me, I'm telling you about what you wrote, but as a viewer, I know, because I love when people say, oh, no, he is going to do this, and you're the writer. I'm telling you, like that. I think that's funny. But when I'm watching it, I was like, oh, he's not really wrestling. He's doing his job, as he said. If he really thought that he was guilty, remember, he wanted him to have breakfast. He's like, you can come out and have breakfast. And Lucas is like, no, he kind of ignored him and ate his breakfast in the jail, right. and he was going to let him break bread with him and sit with him, so. And he was
made the decision too, as much or more for Elizabeth's sake as for Nathan's, even though he knew Nathan was innocent. I think Lucas was innocent. Yeah, he wanted to. His good friend Elizabeth, he didn't want her to suffer because of that.
There's that reason for Elizabeth. It would help with the case against Walden, so that's a good thing. And so it's a selfless act to let the hit and run thing go for the greater good and for his friends. And you're right. When he wanted him to come out of the jail, I like that scene, the way they played that.
Yes.
That he just a little nod, a little. I want to believe you. I'm a cop, so I can't assume anything, but I think I believe you.
Yeah.
Where impulsive Bill was just, I got news. Come on, you can get out now.
Yeah.
And he agreed and left with Bill, just didn't do it with Nathan.
Yeah.
So there's still that little dynamic tension between the two of them, which I love.
It's a long road, but they'll get there.
They will. It's okay. And you know what? If we didn't have the back and forth, if we didn't have, as you called it, the sandpaper, to me, it wouldn't be believable. All of a sudden, they're best of friends. Really? You know what I mean? They went through a lot last season. I don't think they're best of friends yet. I really think they're starting to build like a mutual respect for each other. I think that's where it's going.
Everybody's probably lost somebody to another person before, and we all know what that feeling is.
Mhm.
And as much as as much of a good person as you want to be,
Yeah.
there's just a little bit of bitterness there, and it just takes time. Everything takes time, and then years later you laugh about it.
I know. My friend Chip and I, we've watched Hallmark movies all the time, and we always say, why is it that the ex-boyfriend or the boyfriend that's going to be ousted or the girlfriend that's going to be ousted or whatever, why are they always such a good sport? Like, oh, I love you, and this is the best thing for you, and off they go. Like, you're like, really? And then they're
Real life.
starting to change that a little bit. So I can appreciate this relationship. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
realistic. And for the people that were like brokenhearted for Nathan, we don't want to rip them off and say, oh, now I'm all best of friends. It's a good thing. I think you're doing a
And
good job.
and he does it with Nathan does it with Elizabeth too.
Yes.
He says it straight out to her a few times,
I
like,
know, it's the greatest.
I should have never fallen for you, or whatever it was.
Yeah, like, it's a good
Line.
thing I didn't, right? When they're
Yeah,
in the
yeah.
car. Yeah.
And
Did
she's
we
like,
write that?
I can't remember who wrote that one, but
It was
yeah, I
deep.
mean, it's exactly what somebody might say,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
what else are you going to say?
Hey, Derek, speaking of Hallmark movies, where would one find? I mean, do you write for other media when you're on the hiatus? And where would we find out about what else you've written so we
I
can
mean,
watch?
I've been very lucky to work steadily for a long time, and
Mm.
I always have things, and I've got a few things in development for Hallmark right now.
Ooh.
Uh, in recent years, I've got little kids, and I've kind of slowed down in the off season while they're young. But yeah, it's kept me pretty busy, this show, for a while. And I also bounced when they did the spin-off, I would bounce over to that and and write over there. But yeah, I'm constantly writing stuff, and then you have the task of trying to sell it somewhere, and it's a whole game. It's kind of fun. It's highs and lows, and but I'm glad I have this job. It's great stability.
We're glad too.
We are too. Um, Miranda, she says, Derek, no, Gloria, that's Gloria. Derek, are you constantly thinking of storylines for the future? Oh, that's true. Like, in your head, if we got a season 10, do you already have some things that you're ready for?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of a constant thing. It's just things you see in real life, or things that happen to you, you sort of translate them into something that would work back then on the show. And uh, yeah, you just or you watch another movie or read a book or something, and you just see something that might fly. So yeah, I've got a little book, and I always write them down, and then when we get the writers room back together, then I have something to offer. And that's when the first 2 weeks are really fun, when we get back together, because that's when we're just rapidly pitching or blue skying, this show, like, what could it be? And that's the most fun for me. I love that time.
I like it. I'm enjoying it. This is all good. Um, Donna says, I was perplexed that Rosemary printed the story. So we jumped ahead now. We're back. We're
Yeah,
moving on to what were the thoughts behind that, her printing it?
that was a tough one. There was definitely a lot of conversations about it, about what's the right thing to do. And on one hand, it's your friend telling you something in
Yeah.
confidence, and you're trying to protect Lucas. But on the other hand, she's got a newspaper that's kind of responsible to the people, and many of those people would be very hurt if this was known and they weren't told. So, well, she wanted to honor or honor her word with her friend. She also has many other friends in that town that lost people, so it was just an impossible thing.
Yeah.
And in the end, they made it work. And then it was a nice resolution where she found out that she was pregnant, and that nothing puts everything in perspective more than that.
Right.
You go through something like that, and you realize, okay, we may have disagreed on that or whatever, but this is what's important.
Their friendship.
It was a tough one. It was
Yeah.
definitely a tough one. The whole thing, the whole idea of opening the mine is a tough, which is why we had trouble getting it through in previous seasons. But this seemed like far enough away from season 1 that it was the right time to do it, because it felt like Henry has had something on his, like, kind of this guilt on him for so long, and it's just, he's got so many things that he needs to sort out, and we just wanted to kind of finally arrive at the core of that problem, whereas he probably feels very responsible for what happened.
The follow-up to Rosemary, I was really annoyed with Rosemary, the character, for doing it, but she did have the decency to come to Elizabeth. But then the follow-up to, I promise you, I will never betray you again, not for the newspaper, not for anything. And I'm a big proponent that nothing is throwaway on this story. So I have the feeling that somewhere in the future, that is going to be put to the test. So I don't know when or where, but at some point, there's going to be.
That's a good instinct. Yeah.
It's in the Bible. She wrote. I know Allie wrote that down. So in season 11,
Queen Allie version of the Bible.
Season 11, we'll see that again. Donna says, we were excited to discover Ned is Jewish. How did you decide that? I love that. And he's Jewish, and his wife, she did the rosary over him when he was, almost dying. So she's Catholic. What a combo.
Yeah. I can't remember how that came about. That was John's, those were John's scripts and his idea to have this sort of holiday themed Hope Valley Day. But it just worked, and there's some great messages there, and very relatable no matter what someone's religion might be, and very inclusive. I thought it worked really well.
And I loved how someone would be like, oh, suddenly he's Jewish, and he explained about the whole celebration with his daughter. He used, they didn't really do it anymore after his wife died. He just didn't feel like it. So, I mean, and that's true. Just because you are of a certain like culture or faith in the Jewish community, that would be both, or it's both, that doesn't mean that you practice or celebrate every holiday, right? So, I mean, I don't know. I thought that was fun and interesting and inclusive. I liked it. I thought it was cute.
It's sort of both, Florence and Ned have these moments where they think of their late spouses.
Yes.
And, for him, it's the reminder, and now he's getting over it. Now he'd like to celebrate it again with Florence's blessing, of course. And then she's thinking about, now she has to think about the mine disaster again. And of course he'll be there to support her through that. It's a nice nod, because you don't forget the people you lose, and it doesn't betray your current partner. So it's nice that they have that. And there's that heartbreaking line, which is not mine, but something Molly said, where she misses somebody to, blanking on the line, but misses to someone to take care of her or something.
Yeah, she's talking to Faith because of how Lee was taking care of Rosemary, and then she got that look.
That just hit me, the way she did it. I can't recall how that line came about, but I think it ties into that. It makes the people that have somebody very, appreciate it, and because it's really hard for people that have lost somebody.
And that's what she was saying. She's like, I can't remember the last time, because it's been so long since your husband passed away, that someone was there to take care of her. And she gets a pat on the shoulder from Faith.
Yeah. Faith is there for everybody.
Yes, she is. We need somebody there for her. I'm not quite sure who that's going to be, but I love her character. She's one of my favorite characters. Yeah. And even before Fiona came, she was very independent, out there trying something new and different on her own.
Right.
And I remember when she first came, I know we met her in Hamilton, which you helped, right? But then she came to also help out Henry when he hurt his leg. Remember, she was going to, yeah, she stays. Like I'm telling you, do you remember?
That little voice is like, did that happen? Like, yes, it did happen. Yes, that made it onto the show.
And so she has been very much unlucky in love all these years. Like she had a fiance, he didn't like her trying to do her own thing. Then there were some, there was I forget the character's name. He had a little boy and they tried to go out on a few dates and that just didn't work out. And then there was the railroad guy who was kind of like rough and not so nice with her. And and then of course there's Carson and that doesn't work out for whatever reason. So I'm like, wow. I mean, she's very career oriented. I get it. But one day I would like for Faith to have a love interest.
I think after everything she's been through, I think it'll feel that much sweeter when she finally finds the right person.
And she'll be ready. Like she was telling Nathan she wasn't really that ready before, and that's okay.
Yeah.
And however you can answer this, but I feel like we all know the answer. Will we know if Bill is okay? We know something's wrong. We could tell he's sick. And by the end of the season, will we have an answer?
Yeah, we'll have some answers about what's happening with Bill, and I really like that story. I think it's good because he plays the curmudgeon and the smarty pants a lot, and this is a more serious. It's about his longevity and where he is. What does he want to do in life? And I think it's going to be a really interesting resolution.
Oh, okay, that's good. I like that. Oh,
yeah. Did I spoil it?
No, you didn't, but it's a good thing. Donna says, Derek, I love the pace of your episodes. Yes, and the consistency of the characters. Such a pleasure. That's true. It was stuff being fired at from all over, but it all flowed. I didn't feel like, what? Huh? Like it was fantastic.
Oh, great. Yeah.
And it feels very balanced. All the storylines, all the characters seem to really get their own moments.
Yeah.
And that's very important, I think.
Kudos to the director and the crew and the actors. They just, sometimes it just comes together perfectly, and we can even think that the script is, this is a good script, it's going to work, but sometimes it doesn't. Things just don't fit together on the day when they shoot it. And this, we got those moments. I find if we hit a few of those moments, like the Rosemary and Elizabeth thing, like that's when she's learning about the pregnancy, like that's the show. Like that, when I see one of those, I'm reminded about, okay, that's what I love about this show. Yes. And so when they do it right, it just sings. So I'm really happy about last night's episode.
I know we've had you forever. You're gonna have to go have some dinner soon. Gloria says, Derek, when you write, do you focus on certain characters more than others because they are your specialty, or do you write for whichever character's storyline is scheduled for that episode? It's a good question.
I always lead with Elizabeth. When I write at home, I have a little sign like, "What's Elizabeth doing?" Because you can sometimes get too busy with everybody, but she started the show and she's an important through line on the show. So she, you'll see that she kind of comes in and out of other storylines because she's kind of the voice of reason, and she has her own dedicated storylines too, where something happens, she's in trouble, or she's got a goal that she wants to achieve, but definitely focus on her. And we try to balance it out and have 4, maybe sometimes 5 storylines that we like to, one bigger one and then progressively smaller, and keep those going. But it's always a moving target. It's hard to things change. I would love to look at my first drafts versus production drafts side by side, because I think they're all so different in a good way. Yeah.
Like if they evolve. Someone was saying, I love the inscription on the watch, "Our time has come." Who thought of that?
I think that was John. Yeah.
Now, so Kathy and I were talking about this. Hyland is like amazing. Little guy, right? Oh my God. So the scene where he's in Lucas's office and he's like, "What's that? And what's that? What's that?" And then he puts the smile on his face. Is that like, was that written, or is that also him doing his thing combo?
A little of that is written, but a lot of it is kind of an ad-libbed, actors and directors working with him and just to see what they can get out of him. And he's a fun kid, and if you shoot him for long enough, you'll get some gold in there. So I think there's a lot of that too. The idea, he's a great character because when serious things are happening, he just comes in and reminds everybody, like, okay, your life's not that bad, and focus on the good things, and look at this innocent kid that just wants to like look at things and have fun and eat ice cream. Yeah, he's a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to see, if we get a season 10. These kids grow so fast. I'm curious what he'll be able to do next time.
Oh gosh, it's going to be even better and better and better. I know. And I love, he has a really good, the actors have really good chemistry together, Chris and Hyland. Like, I think Hyland, it seems like he really trusts him. They bonded and they're adorable together. I remember Chris was doing one of those, like, you sit in the chair. I think Deidre Hall was like, she was interviewing and they ask questions, and Edify has it on their little YouTube channel and whatnot. And he said that he had a really good time and that he was ready to be a dad now, or I want to be a dad now, something like that, which was cute.
Yeah.
So I'm like, oh,
they spend a lot of time together, and that's set life. There's as much time as there's shooting. There's 3 times as much time just kind of going through lines or having lunch together, whatever. Like, so these people get really close, and he's. I haven't met him personally. I just hear the stories from the actors and the directors.
He just seems so adorable.
Such a sweet kid, yeah.
Now I'm picturing Chris, come on, Hyland, let's run some lines.
Yeah. I know Peter DeLuise is really close with him, and but all the directors get a lot out of him, and he's really fun to work with.
Yeah. All right, we have one more here, and then you can go have some dinner. I don't know if you had your dinner yet. Pam, this is Pam. She says, Derek, you write the best episodes. I always know you were getting a drama-filled, very romantic and great episodes. We're always getting a drama-filled, very romantic and great episode. Oh,
thank you. Yeah. We try to hit all those notes. We try to hit the drama and some romance, some comedy, and if you can get all those things into a script, you've done your job.
Yeah, you did it. You did a good job. It was a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful episode.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
So Allie said that you have to have some like angst and like you don't know where things are going, because we, like Lucas, it ended with Lucas, we knew was going to wind up in jail, in order for them to get to their happy place, and that we were going to be happy in episode 12. Are we going to be happy in episode 12, Derek?
There are definitely happy things in episode 12, for sure. Right. Okay. I think you'll be very happy with some of those happy things. and there's also going to be some, troubled times there too. But I think you're going to like where everything lands. It's a good season ender.
Yeah, we're going to get more of that little red box that he brought out for all of 2 seconds. And then her birthday present. Mm-hmm.
Good things coming.
All right. Okay. So, you could stay as long as you want, but I didn't know if, you got to go. We say 20 minutes. And the last time, you're here. I think you were here almost 3 times the 20 minutes.
Well, I should go and put my kids to bed. My wife and I have to divide and conquer there. But thank you so much for having me, and all these wonderful people asking questions. Thank you. Hope you enjoy the rest of the season. I think it's going to be a lot. It's going to be big. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, Derek. You have a good night.
Thanks a lot. Good night, everyone. Thanks.
Bye-bye. Bye. All right. Hello, Miss Kathy.
Hello.
He was just, what I love? He had a very soothing and calming, like, personality, like when he was talking and sharing, because I get hyper. Somebody said to me the one time that I was so hyper, they thought maybe I had some of the cough medicine that Bill had. That's what they wrote to me. I was like, well, I have to go back and look at myself. And it was just me. That's my normal self. You think that I'm hyper, you should be in a room. We have lots of women in our family, all the women together, and I'm pretty calm compared to some of them. They're all very dramatic. All right. So I did put the picture out. I did see quickly some people were answering. I don't know if everyone did before you and I have our little recap, because we're already an hour into everything. And I know there are questions that are being asked that I know that we cannot ask Derek, but we ourselves can talk and put our ideas in there. Kathy, did you notice who answered first?
I did not. I didn't even know they had answered. I thought that we were waiting until you pull the plug, not pull the plug, but drop the handkerchief or whatever.
Wait, and make it fall, and then they just take off like they did.
They take off.
Yeah.
In the hot rods.
Yeah. Okay. So let's see. Anything I need to know? Hello, Donna. Is this? Oh, this is me talking to Donna. All right. Bear with us. If y'all want to go get a drink, use the bathroom, and rush on back so we could do our MVP and talk about some of the questions that you had in here, like about what's going on with Bill. Does he have TB? And I have a theory. And, is anybody getting married on the bridge? And somebody's leaking pictures someone saw a commercial in the middle of the night. We heard all that. We're going to talk about it. Let's see. I don't know if I saw it. I'll go back. Hallmark Red goes with Christmas. Well, they listened with Hearties waiting on the Coulter baby. It's unheard of not to have a season 10 and hoping for a Christmas show. Hello, Roxanne and Kathy. Hello, everyone. I don't know. I'll show it again. And if somebody put it, I thought somebody thought it was Lucas's jacket or something. I remember seeing that. So I know the answers are there. There's just I don't know if anyone could see it, but there are many, many, many questions in.
Someone said Arthur Gilchrist's tie pin.
Yes, it is Arthur Gilchrist's pocket square with his lapel. It's a pocket square. Yes. It's not a pin. It's like peeking out of his little suit jacket. I'm not going to go crazy and say, you're not the winner.
Someone said jacket pocket.
Yeah. It's the little pocket square. It's just peeking out of his pocket of the lapel. It's Arthur's. Arthur. There it is. Okay. So we'll figure out who that was, because it could take me forever and a day. So what did you want to talk about this episode, Miss Kathy?
Just a few notes as usual. And I'm trying to skip through anything we talked about when Derek was on. I was a little annoyed with Hickam. It's like, if you're going to resign, just resign. Don't talk it to death. And then I wondered with Rosemary why this was a complete surprise to her, because wouldn't she have missed a cycle or two at this if she's at the point where she's feeling morning sickness?
Well, she said when she put her hand over, she goes, oh, it would be really early. She said that. So, yeah, she did say that. I caught on to that, too, because, they have to be careful what they can and cannot say.
Right. So. You got to love Elizabeth and her priorities. Oh, now that Leah's here, I got to go to Lucas, so I'll leave you to it. I like Nathan and May, but I could actually see Nathan and Faith, too. They have a good rapport. I like their conversations. They could totally remain friends, but I knew the hit and run guy wasn't just some random character.
Yes.
Nothing on this show is just random.
Right.
I knew he was going to turn up again. I don't think Lucas and Elizabeth could act more married, even after the ceremony. I mean, everything about them is like, we are totally committed to each other. I liked Joseph explaining to Lee without saying it. How do you explain to someone you don't understand the Black experience without saying you don't understand the Black experience? Yeah. I thought that was real good. And I think that Lee picked up on that. And then we kind of talked about this earlier. I really liked Fiona putting Arthur Gilchrist in his place.
Yes.
And I'm convinced now, I don't know, I could be totally off, but I think there's something there. And I think she may have found her Lucas, here's somebody who's, coming to town and he's flashy and, not taking any prisoners. But yeah, I think there could be a possibility there.
He hold that thought. So he comes in, he's there next week too, and I've interviewed Matthew just about his career, but he is our guest for next week. So
Yep.
his episodes will be over and he'll get to talk, more about them. It's because he won't be spoiling anything. Go
Yep.
ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, 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 no worries. Lucas and Jack building a treehouse. All I could think about was Lucas in the building the library, like, what is this thing for? And then coming out with his hand in the bama. I'm like, I don't know. Maybe he's learned some skills from them, but that should be a
But
really fun exercise.
he may have learned some skills because do you remember when he went away, like right after Christmas, after he saw
He
her
helped them
going?
rebuild
Yeah, so maybe he
in
learned something.
Louisiana. Yeah,
Yeah.
he would have to if he's talking about building. Anyway, I think that'll be total fun. That was pretty much my thoughts. Anything else? I probably popped off during the part with Derek.
Okay. I have a question though. That treehouse, just like the cart, like her wagon, I feel like there's if it's not going to be covered this season, which I think would be a little odd, it's definitely going to be something for next season. But the part about the treehouse, could it be that there's something like where, first of all, someone said, where are the trees? There are no trees around her house. I'm like, that's true. I said, well, by the saloon there are, and they could do that. Or it could be, you know, there's a lot of trees out by the bridge. There's
We
a lot
haven't
of
seen her
trees.
complete backyard. We've just seen the portion of it where they were having dinner. So
Right.
that could be a tree in her backyard.
Right, that's true, and you have to have a certain kind of tree. We wouldn't want the trees that are out, like, by where the cabin was, where um we don't know who lives in that cabin. I wonder if we'll ever find that out. But the trees, like, those are the real tall, and they get dangerous. So I'm wondering, will that have something to do with the end of the season? Because I remember Chris saying that, um, that the character of little Jack really pulls through for him and helps him out with something. And I was thinking, is it her birthday? Is that what he meant? Or is there something in the end that he helps with?
Could be the
You
tree.
know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm still thinking about that. I don't know what anybody else out there thinks. And also, someone was saying, what happened now? There's that taxi cab. What happened to the horse-drawn cart? Like the one that had the people come in like a taxi. And I was like, Lucas was looking at the wagon that she wanted. Now that other piece is missing, maybe he's going to combine the two for her. I mean, I don't know. Like,
Look at as more progress that we're starting to see the end of the horses, and they're just transitioning the town. I don't know.
okay, that's true. It could simply be that too.
Mhm.
Okay, so maybe we'll finally see Lucas's house and the tree is on his property. Gloria, not this season. I know we do not see his house because they talked about that. They said we don't get to meet the actress who will be playing one day, maybe Jeanette. They said unless they're throwing us off. And they also said that we still don't get to see where Lucas lives yet. Yeah. Yeah. I know Margie's saying that he might be living at the hotel because that's where he was headed after Nathan stopped him. But there's that whole scene where Allie asks if he lives here, and he said, no, he does not. He doesn't live at the hotel, but I'm sure he lives somewhere close by. We've had that discussion. It said, John Tinker mentioned Roxanne about the taxi. Oh, okay. All right. Faith and Nathan is great chemistry. Don't like May and Nathan. It's forced. I don't know. I didn't think it was forced, but who knows? You don't know what they're going to write, how they're going to what situations they're going to put them in. Yes, don't forget Jack bought a piece of property for his and E's future. Maybe that's where a treehouse could be built. And I was thinking that too, Janice. It's not far from the where the school is. So could be. Yeah, maybe Wyman does live in the cabin. Who knows? Yeah, they used to live out in the cabin. Lisa, we did address that. we talked to Viv and Natasha. I had them on, and they talked about the cabin, and they were saying that they did live out there, and then they had them come back. Part of the reason was because of the weather and the set. It was just too money to go out there in like real life. And then there was that whole idea that, they're new to the town, but they stayed on the outskirts. Now he knew he was going to be the pastor, Joseph. They were going to be working in town, Minnie. So that's why they got one of the row houses. So that was, how they wrote it in. Yeah. Yeah, there are trees right next to the row house. Okay. All right. That's true. And I have mentioned in the past that my grandson is LJ's age. And when Elizabeth made the comment about he was old enough to help, my grandson would be the one actually building it without help. Oh, okay. Don't like May and Nathan. No chemistry. Okay. I'm with you, Kathy. I like May and originally didn't think Faith was a good match for Nathan, but I'm changing my mind as the relationship seems to get closer. I don't know. I feel like why is it that we have to pair him off with somebody already? Do you know what I mean? I like
No,
pardon me, go ahead.
we don't. I was just going to say we don't, but I think they are going to continue dropping hints.
Yeah, like little things along the way. Yeah. Nathan made a big sacrifice for Lucas, and I'm sure that will go a long way toward making them closer. Yes, you're right. And Lynn had, oh, you did?
$1,000.
Yeah. Lynn had her gooey butter cake tonight. Yum. I think that's cute how they wrote that in. And did we forgot to ask, I'm sorry, Lynn, we forgot to ask Derek about that, like why that was even in there. That stinks. I know. And apparently he wrote next week's 12's episode too. Did you hear what he said? He said he wrote not 12, episode 11. Yeah, yeah. Now I know that's a nod to Minnie, the ooey gooey cake. So I wanted to say something about the ooey gooey cake. I kept saying it's not. I was talking to you about it, right, Kathy? We didn't say it. I don't think we said it off. I always forget what we say behind the camera and what we say on camera. But so I had someone had posted, and a lot of people are posting recipes, and they're talking about the one that's like with the box cake. I didn't grow up on box cakes, and when I eat one, I can taste the fakeness in the flavoring for whatever. I'm not a fan of. First of all, I'm not a fan of cakes, and there's only one time that I actually used a box cake, and it's a recipe I did on my channel, and it's to make a whiskey cake. And my aunt told me to use the box cake, and I wouldn't because I hate box cakes, and I used all real and it didn't work. And then I broke down, and she goes, "Use the box cake," and I did, and it worked. But I added things to it. But anyway, the one where you take for the butter cake, you take the box cake and it makes like a crust, and then they put this cream cheese sugary thing on top. I was telling Kathy, I grew up on that cake, even though I'm from Jersey. My mother loved it. She grew up on it. So we grew up on it. And it was her favorite thing. Like if we bought two, and they're usually just like, 9x9 pan. She had to have one off for herself. She was this tiny little thing and she'd eat all that. But it was sold at one bakery, and you can taste it. The base is a yeast dough, and the top does not have cream cheese in it. And when I tasted that version, I was like, oh, it's nothing like the real thing. It's going to ruin it for those. Like, if you don't like what you're eating, please try the real thing. So if you want the recipe, I'm not sharing the recipe because I'm going to do it in the summertime. Kathy's like, yeah, okay, Roxanne, whatever you say.
Not a fan of cakes? That's impossible. Are you a pie lover?
No, I'm not. And I like cookies and I like brownies. But if I never ate a piece of cake and I never ate a piece of pie for the rest of my life, I'd be okay.
Oh my gosh.
And I'm not an ice cream
pound cakes in school.
I'm not really okay. Yeah. I'm not a big chocolate fan, and I'm also not a big ice cream fan. So if I had none, I like them for different reasons, but if I had none of it, I would be okay. Yes, I happen to like food. How about a margarita? I don't drink. I don't drink.
Neither do I.
Yeah. How could Nathan leave a man in jail that he knows is innocent? And that would have been worse. He had to do the right thing, even if he didn't like it. And that's true, Nikki. I agree. I agree. They like Derek said, they made a tough situation on purpose. Kathy's falling asleep.
No,
Okay.
I'm not. That was very well hidden
All
until
right.
you pointed it out to everybody.
Sorry. All right. So, I made it go away. This is the one we didn't talk about. I think Bill has TB. Yep. And will go away at the end of season to get healed. I think that's the Abai in the title. Then the engagement and confirmation and Lee learning about the baby. I was wondering if, like, because it said Rosemary and Lee get news. I wonder if it was about the newspaper though. The news about because they're having a big meeting. Do you know what I mean? I thought maybe that was their news. I really don't think that they would have hinted that Rosemary was pregnant and then take it away from us. They're going to have a baby one way, shape, or form. I really do think she is going to have a baby. There was a time where I thought maybe it was an adoption. What do
I
you
think
think?
the sandpaper might be Lee needing to run the newspaper and Rosemary resisting giving over, control of that. And Lee going, you need to take care of yourself. Quit worrying about the newspaper. It'll be interesting.
Yeah, yeah. I agree with Bill having TB. I think he does too. And there's a story that I used to read with my students about going out west. And the one family that decided that they would go, they were really from Missouri and they decided to go out to the west Oregon Trail, but you could do the whole Montana, Wyoming, whatever area too. People stayed there. And part of the reason was the air. The fresh air that was out there was better for the lungs, and his sister had the sickness, and they did it for her. She could breathe better. And I'm wondering if that's what he'll do. He'll go and spend some time with Clara and Jesse and relax and be healed. I don't know. I'm
I
thinking,
just wonder if they're going to do it during the hiatus. And then when they come back, he's back and healthy, or if he'll still be off, getting healthy by the time season 10 starts
yeah.
out.
I don't think he's going off the show like Carson is, but you never know. Do you know what I mean? I don't.
know he's got another gig or something,
Yeah, yeah, but I don't know.
just
I think
temporarily, maybe he's doing another. What were those movies?
yes, there's 6 of them. I learned.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
yeah. I don't know. He usually tends to do them and make it work in his schedule for whatever reason. But
Yeah, there's a lot shifting around though between Hallmark and GAC and
yeah,
who's doing what, and so who knows? I don't know.
yeah. And then there was somebody who had people, more than one person, several people like I'm like the person that knows all the information. I do not. I very, 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 very rarely, like I can tell you on one hand where I've had inside information, and it was because an actor shared something with me so minuscule and then caught that they did it accidentally. And I didn't call them out on it or said anything, and they thanked me for it. So it's not like I have that. I have not, have no, there's no way anybody would give me inside information on purpose. So people have been asking me about this commercial that showed Elizabeth in a wedding dress on a bridge and that she's getting married. I never saw it. I don't know a thing about it. I know on Pam's, Lucas, and Elizabeth Hardy page, I don't know if that person is here. I forget who it is. She posted a conversation that she said was between she and her sister, and they were texting back and forth about seeing this commercial. I don't know. I'm not saying the person didn't tell the truth. I just don't know how legit all of that is because I saw it real fast. I never heard of anything like that. And then they took it down and won't show it again. I mean, it could have been a clip that was accidentally shown. I don't know. Could they be on that bridge getting married? Sure. Why not? They could be. But I thought I heard them say that would be for season 10. I thought that's what I heard them say.
All they've got to do between now and in the next 2 episodes, I can't see them doing any kind of wedding like that.
Right. I definitely think they're engaged. I know that. Yeah. So, and well, that's like, which is like fine by me. I'm excited. Yeah.
Because Elizabeth said, our time has come. Come on, dude. It's time to make the move.
They said Lisa is saying that yes, Jack comes back for a small arc on General Hospital. They talked about it on General Hospital. I know, but what does that mean? Why I don't he could do
be
that.
away filming, depending on when their filming schedule is.
Sure, because they don't start filming for season 10 until they don't do that until like July usually. So we've got like some months and weeks going on here, but who knows? What's this? My question is Mike Hickam, the mayor going off the show or a couple of the show. What? He's not going. Mike's coming back. Oh yeah, he said he was only gone for a short time. He'll be back. As a matter of fact, when he if you pay attention to people that have been showing those pictures of the bridge was shared in a behind the scenes photo on like Instagram. I think it was I don't think it was Viv who shared it. I think it was Natasha. And you can see she's got that orangey, beautiful orange color, burnt orange coat, and they're outside and she's on the bridge with him. And that's why we're like, oh, it's the last episode. They're on the bridge. We wonder why. And people have been speculating for various reasons. But if you look on the Crown Media's press kit they released for that episode, you see everybody outside and they're clapping and they're talking. It's Mike. He's back. He's in episode 12 and he's speaking to everyone. And they're looking up and they're smiling, they're talking. And also, for whatever reason, Minnie and Joseph have a picnic indoors. So something's going on with the two of them. And so I don't know. I think that it's going to be an exciting episode 12. I don't think there's a wedding. I do remember seeing Elizabeth in her white nightgown walking Erin walking down the street that's in the set to get to her the row house. I know there's a nightgown scene. It's this white nightgown thing, but maybe people
that could have something to do with the timing of the fire.
Yes.
It happens overnight or something. People run out with whatever they've got on.
Yeah, it's true. Season 10 starts filming if picked up again in July. That's 2 months from now. Yes. Yeah, they do in July. It was Natasha. Yes, Lynn, you are correct. She said she had a conversation. She was texting and shared a text between her sister, she and her sister. Or between her and her sister. The word is between, so it's her. What do you think is up with Joseph and Minnie being on the bridge dressed up? That's what we're talking about. I don't know. Could be anything. Yep, and that you were correct, Candace. I heard her say that. It wouldn't be until season 10. Yep. Might be at the bridge. A proposal at the bridge? I don't think he would propose in front of everybody. I think he would want that private, All right. Who's your MVP?
Say again?
Who's your MVP?
It's got to be Little Highland because that scene, it just made me smile. And I think a lot of what he said, except possibly for when he held the binoculars up.
Yeah.
Like, what is this? You all look so, was it far away or so close? Yeah. I think that was scripted. But I could tell most of the rest of it wasn't because they didn't have any comebacks for him. It was just, they were just, playing off him. And Chris looked totally like he was being Chris rather than Lucas. When he's like, I want to come up. He's like, you want to come up? Okay, here you go. He was just going with it. I think those two have the best chemistry this side of Lucas and Elizabeth. So I'd say Little Highland is mine.
Okay. Kathy Murphy says her MVP is Henry. And Gloria says it's Elizabeth for sticking by Lucas. Rosemary. A lot of people are saying Rosemary. Cindy, this is so good. She says it's the ooey gooey butter cake.
She's right.
You're right, because everyone is talking about it. And it was so great. And I loved, like, you know what? I am so upset that I forgot to talk to Derek about that. Like, why it was mentioned, how that thread, was put in there. You know how they put fun things like that in there. I am dying. Oh,
It could be as simple as it was the mechanism for certain characters to connect with each other.
yes, yes.
Rosemary and Joseph, um, Nathan and Fiona.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't remember if there was anybody else, but I think that was the common theme in having the gooey cake was the mechanism for them having the dialogue.
And it's a nod to Minnie because it's where she is from, right? And she hasn't been in these 2 episodes. I'm also thinking that for me, and I think he was last week too, I thought for this storyline that the person who, saves the day is Nathan. He had a hard decision to make, and he made it. You know what I mean? I mean, he's right. I was almost killed, and his horse, and I think he would be he was more devastated if his horse died than if he was injured, and he's a Mountie. He wants the right thing done, and he had to, like, oh, it must irk him. That guy gets to go free, so, and he did a good thing letting Lucas out,
He did.
but I mean, able to get him out of jail. But to me, that's why he's MVP. But everybody has some really good. Yes, Jackie, Hospital and Iron Lung. Yes, I think you're right, Roxanne. My MVP was the cake and then Nathan. Me too, Chris. You and I are on the same wavelength here. Okay, if I'm not mistaken, I thought, wait a minute, I wrote it down. No, I think I just ripped it up in my big excitement. We did have a winner, and I forget who it was. Darn.
It was back at 8:06 Eastern. If you're scrolling back, right around.
What is it?
8:06 Eastern. You'll see.
You're good, Kathy. Who is it? Tell me. Who is it?
I don't know. Are you going by? Are you accepting? Hang on. It depends on what you're accepting as an answer. Because someone, the first person said tie pin, and the second person said pocket.
Okay. All right. Let's see.
Miranda SF said Gilchrist tie pin, and then Cappy M said Arthur Gilchrist jacket pocket, and it was both at 7:06 that I see, but you'll see the timestamp.
Okay, and who was the second one?
Cappy M.
That's it. It was Cappy. Okay, and I know who Cappy is. All right. Okay. All right. And last week, what did I send? I sent out, because we had the 2 winners for Buddy, because he was so cute. I sent out the Buddy snacks. There's like a Buddy snack that you could send out. I do have someone from 2 weeks prior to that, but she is in Canada, and I have to actually go physically to and have it mailed at the post office. So that's a pain in the neck for me, but I've been pretty good keeping up with all of them. All right, this is it. You want to close out with anything? Oh, they're saying great show. Thank you. Thank you. Why investigation? Huh? Wanda. Henry is wearing a heavy coat, so I think it's moving. I can answer that. Someone did ask about the timeline, and we talked about that last week with Allie. It's, they're never super specific, but it's late fall. The cold weather is coming, and it's late fall. It's not quite Thanksgiving yet, but it's getting there. That's what they were saying. That's what we said last week. Yeah. I don't know what investigation. I think that you're welcome. Okay.
Who's joining us next week?
Matthew, Mr. Gilchrist, Arthur. We're going to say Arthur. You like Fiona, don't you?
Artie. I'm going to call him Artie.
Arthur. Oh, what are you going to do when the season ends? Pajama party 2 weeks later. Right. Oh, yes, Gloria. So I can't have it the following Sunday because it's Memorial Weekend, right? Is it Memorial Weekend? Yeah. So then the next, I'm having a pajama party. Yes. And some of the admins will be on, and we're going to talk about all the stuff that we loved. And it is my hope, and please do not think that I'm having some major guests come on, like from Wayne Calls the Heart. But it's my hope to have people pop in to make it like a pajama party and do some stuff. I did ask someone special to come, and he has not responded, but we will see if he's busy and he can figure it out. And yes, Matthew is definitely going to be here. The cars didn't have windows, so it would have been quite cold while driving, and that could be why Henry has on a heavy coat. Yes, he also loves the coat as an actor. All right. Thank you, Catherine. She said, great show. Me too. I think so too. All right. Good night, everyone.
Good night, I'll see you next week.
Yes.
Roxanne, are you the Pope? What is with this?
What, when I wave like that?
Yeah.
I'll tell you
You
when
know
we
the
get,
Pope.
I'll tell you when we get in the studio.